Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next, best case scenario for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk. So, as we all know, Ravens face off against the Texans at home today, 1 p.m. Both teams come in at 1-3. Both teams need a win, and both teams have some injuries, but the Baltimore Ravens injuries are the most severe. The most notable, missing Lamar Jackson. And so what I want to talk about is what is the best case scenario for the Baltimore Ravens. Lamar Jackson is expected to miss the next 2 games and probably come back after the bye week. And I've heard some commentary that best case scenario is 1-1. 2-0 would be great. But I'm here to turn that dynamic upside down, and I'm going to say, now this is really going to test and show my fandom, but I'm going to say the best case scenario for the Baltimore Ravens is to go 0-2. Now let me be clear. Do I want the Baltimore Ravens to go 0-2? Certainly not. Let me be clear. Do I want the Baltimore Ravens to go 0-2? No. Do I want them to win against the Texans? Yes. Do I want them to win? I believe it's against the Rams. Yes. But what I'm saying is, as a true fan, what I want and what they need to do is 2 different things. You see, the difference is kind of like when you have a car. It's running great. Has some miles on it. Has a couple of dings and scratches. But it still performs just like when you bought it. Your need is met. You got transportation. But you keep seeing advertisements about the new Mercedes, the new BMW, the new truck. And so you start peeking at car lots, and then you start going to car lots, and then you start talking to a salesman, and then you're talked into what you want versus what you need. See, they're both transportation, the new car and the old car. But one is a need and the other is a want. So as a fan, I'm telling you what I want is them to win. But what we need is to go 0-2. Now, Belanger, and for those of you who prefer the GM, why would you say that? Well, I'm glad you asked me. You see, the Baltimore Ravens, specifically in the last 7 seasons, and I may grant them 6 seasons post Lamar Jackson's first MVP. Okay, so that would be 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, and now 25. Over the last 6 seasons, the Baltimore Ravens have been consistently half steppers. And what that means is they only go halfway. They only go a part of the way to put themselves in the best position to go capture a chip. Now, if I can be honest, 2019 wasn't a real championship year. We had the best record, got the bye, all those kind of things. But it's not common that a second-year player with only a half year of starting, specifically I'm talking about Lamar Jackson, goes and wins the Super Bowl. So it was really a surprise, if we can be honest, that he went and won the 2019 MVP. I thought that there was a couple of different times that we were in good position. 2021, we were not a good team holistically, but we were winning. And then the injury happened. 2022, I thought that we were an improving team. We were making a climb. Injury happened, and then things went downhill. So I thought 2023 and maybe 2024 was the best opportunities for the Baltimore Ravens to really compete for a chip. I thought 2025 was a real opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens to really compete for a chip. But when you really look at the last 3 seasons, well, 2 full seasons and then 4 games into this season, and you have to take into consideration the draft and you have to take into consideration free agency, the Baltimore Ravens have been consistently half-stepping. You see, the Baltimore Ravens have refused to go and get exactly what they needed. They refuse to go and spend the money on a player that could put them in position to get over the hump. So they'll continue to bargain buy. The greatest bargain buy in football is the NFL draft. See, because no matter where you draft a player, first round, second round, so on and so forth, they're only going to make as much as about $4 to $5 million per season. And you get that for 4 years for a first rounder before you have to pick up that 5th-year option. And you get that for a full 4 years for second round and on. So that's the biggest bargain bin there is. But also in that bargain bin is unproven NFL talent. Now we know they can run fast and jump high and cover and sack and catch and all those kind of things, but it's not proven at the NFL level. Sure, there are guys who come in and immediately make an impact. No denying. But that's where the Baltimore Ravens have chosen to live over the last 6 seasons. That's called half-stepping. You see, I've heard EDC say he does not believe in a Super Bowl window. Okay? We just heard John Harbaugh this past offseason say what? It's not Super Bowl or bust. So then the question is, if the NFL has no time limit on it and players can just play continually with no end to a career, no end to an era, no end to a season, then what are we really playing for? You see, and so what the Baltimore Ravens have done is continue to shop in the bargain bin. High-end talent in some cases. We know the names. Kyle Hamilton. They drafted Malachi Starks this season. I believe he was the best safety in this draft. They drafted Mike Green, a potential top 15 pick who slid, because of some off-field stuff. They grabbed Isaiah Likely down in the 4th round. Looks like he's going to be, a top-end, tight-end talent. So on and so forth. But all of them, it took time, and it's going to take time for them to develop that NFL skill set and toolkit. And when you have had top-end talent at the quarterback position, at some point, you have to push your chips into the table and say, we're all in. And we have never done that. In 6 seasons, the Baltimore Ravens have failed to do that. And part of that reason why is Lamar Jackson has kept the Ravens at or near the top of the AFC. He's been enough to throw it and run it and make up for a poor offensive line and make up for a lack of wide receiver talent, so on and so forth. And he's been able to keep them at or near the top of the AFC. I want you to imagine this for a moment. Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens have won the AFC North, I know 3 times, but I believe 4 times in his era, without a definite number 1 wide receiver. They won the AFC North and also clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC without a defined number 1 wide receiver and, until last year, a top-end back. Yeah, we could say J.K. Dobbins was good, but he was unproven and injury-prone. We could say Gus Edwards was good, but he was never what you call a top-end talent. And this offensive line hasn't been good in forever. Why? Because the Baltimore Ravens have consistently half-stepped. And going 2-0 or at worst 1-1 would put them in a situation to where they believe that we're better than what we are. I want you guys to hear me. You guys know that what I'm saying is true. Come close. Come close. You see, we know that if the Baltimore Ravens go 1-1 or 2-0, it's going to bode well for the season. We'll be even going into the bye week. But you know what's going to happen? EDC is going to feel better about himself. And John Harbaugh is going to feel better about himself and his coaching staff. And everybody will start patting themselves on the back. The media will say, wow, John Harbaugh really did a good job coaching the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. And it's going to seem as if we're better off than what we are. And you know what they'll do? Even at the trade deadline, they'll make a half-step type deal. A deal that will add a piece, but not a piece that will elevate them exponentially. You see, going 0-2 will cause them to say, you know what? We didn't play good with Lamar Jackson. And we played even worse without him, which only makes sense. But let's look at the parts of us, right? Who performed? Who stepped up? Who rose? And who failed? What coach executed, schemed, game plan, strategized? You see, I think it's the only real way for the Baltimore Ravens to call themselves into real question. I think it's the only real way that they'll look in the mirror and say, hey, you know what? We're missing some pieces. You see, let me give you a few examples. Now, you guys know that I didn't start making content until 2023. But when I came in the door, what was I talking about? The lack of wide receiver talent. My thing has always been, if you don't have a guy by way of draft, then you just go get a guy. And there's been plenty of opportunities in the 6 seasons from 2020 to now of high-end talent that has moved at the wide receiver position that the Baltimore Ravens failed, did not want to make a move on. A.J. Brown, DeAndre Hopkins, who we now have, but 3 to 4 years too late. Calvin Ridley, who at the time earlier was still a good wide receiver. He's probably still a good wide receiver now. I just hadn't paid any attention to him. DK Metcalf just moved. DJ Moore from the Carolina Panthers to the Chicago Bears moved. Deebo Samuel just moved this offseason. And there's a host of other top-end, nice, talented wide receivers who could be a declarative number 1 for the Baltimore Ravens. But you know what we did? We settled in and said, this is the best wide receiver group that Lamar Jackson has ever had. That's true. But do we have a defined number 1? When we look at the offensive line, every good offensive lineman that we had, we allowed them to leave, especially in the interior. Ben Powers came from nowhere, solidified himself as a top-end guard. We let him walk, I think, for about $13 million a season to the Denver Broncos. And what did he do when he got over there in Denver? Became a Pro Bowler. Kevin Zeitler is still playing, right? And when he left the Ravens, I can't remember if he went to Minnesota or Detroit, but I think he's in Tennessee now, somewhere like that. But what did he do? He just solidified his position. Yeah, he was older. But I wonder if we had Ben Powers and still maintained Kevin Zeitler until we found a suitable replacement, I wonder what the interior of this offensive line would really look like. I wonder would Roger Rosengarten be playing better? Just a question. But you know why we don't have them? Because we're habitual half-steppers. Another position that we've been longing for beyond the last 6 seasons was a top-end edge rusher. We haven't had one and don't have one. Mike Green has potential, but Mike Green hasn't been close to a sack yet. And so when you got a roster plus Adisa Isaac of at least 6 or 7 edge rushers, who's doing it big? Nobody. Nobody. But in that time, there was opportunity to grab a Khalil Mack, who moved teams at least twice. I think he's on his 3rd team. There was an opportunity to grab a Joey Bosa, who may not be elite anymore, but still can bend the edge. There was an opportunity to get, what's that dude's name? Danielle Hunter, who we'll see today. There was an opportunity to get Bradley Chubb, who moved from Denver to Miami. See, there's opportunity to go get a guy who had proven to be able to bend the edge and go get the quarterback. But what do? We half-step. We make a trade for Ndakwe. And how did that work out for us? Then we make a deal for, what's that dude's name? Zadarius Smith. And then we couldn't close that. See, we're always half-stepping. Always half-stepping. And then when we had Patrick Queen in-house, we make a trade, double down, and overpay Roquan Smith, lose Patrick Queen, and then now you know what the question is? Who gonna wear the green dot today? Well, I wonder if you just see, yeah, we may say that getting Roquan Smith was an all-in type of move, but it wasn't. That wasn't an all-in move. That was a desperation move. Because the Ravens didn't feel like Patrick Queen could ever get it done. But he's playing okay over there in Pittsburgh. And in truth, that's all Roquan is doing. He's just playing okay. And now Roquan has been hurt in part of 2 seasons, last year and this year. Patrick Queen ain't missed a game yet. And in truth, Roquan hadn't looked the same since he lost Patrick Queen. And you can say he's been trying to make up for the rookies or whatever. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Because no matter what we said about Patrick Queen, we never said there wasn't effort. We never said he looked lazy. We never said he looked out of shape. We never said that. And being out of shape is no excuse for a rookie or a young talent playing beside you. Am I right? So the Baltimore Ravens have habitually half-stepped offensively. They've habitually half-stepped defensively. And if the Baltimore Ravens do anything more than go 0-2, they'll go back and stay in that mode of half-stepping. So, in my opinion, as a true fan, I don't want short-term gratification. I don't want the Baltimore Ravens to just go 1-1 or whatever it is, get Lamar Jackson back on the field, and then he have to carry the team again. Because you know that's what they'll do. See, I'm super interested to how they're going to adjust the offense, because you know it's going to have to be a quick passing game, and you know it's going to be a simplified blocking scheme where Derrick Henry is going right at the line of scrimmage and not going down the line of scrimmage sideways, which is how you got the ball knocked out. And then all of a sudden, oh, now we can use Keaton Mitchell. See, that doesn't make sense. It's called half-stepping. You can only use Keaton Mitchell when Lamar Jackson's out? That don't seem to make a whole lot of sense, does it? Now, let me be clear before I close. I prefer the Baltimore Ravens to win and go 1-1 today, 2-0 next week. That's what I want as a fan. But I do not think it's the best outcome for them, because they will believe that we're better than we are, and we'll start going halfway with whatever moves and decisions that they make going forward. So listen, you guys let me know what you think. I'm your guy, Boulanger, and I'm out.